Module 6, Part 1, Media Concepts and Tools. The key concepts we use in media planning are reach and frequency. They're used to estimate how well a media plan will deliver or has delivered against the desired target audience. Reach is defined as the number, or more commonly, the percentage of the target that will be reached by a given media platform or a complete media plan. And frequency helps answer how often the target will be exposed to the brand's ads in a given media channel or for the full plan. So media plans are defined in terms of these two concepts. Each ad impression either adds to reach or to frequency. Adding to reach is generally considered more valuable because you're delivering the ad to someone who has not yet been reached or exposed. But frequency can be important too, since most consumers require more than one ad exposure to generate an impact. And if you multiply reach times frequency, you end up with the gross rating points, or GRPs. And because of this relationship, if you know two of them, you can calculate the third. Also, for a finite budget, there is always a trade-off between reach and frequency. Other key concepts, as a reminder, are GRPs or TRPs, which is simply the sum of all the rating points we wish to achieve and gives a sense of the overall size of the plan. So the TRP is simply the ratings against a target versus all adults or all households. Impressions, or gross impressions, convert the GRPs into a number by dividing the number of rating points by 100 and multiplying that by the size of the actual target audience. Important distinction is that reach refers to an unduplicated audience, and the GRPs refer to a duplicated audience that could be exposed more than once. How do we calculate reach within a media channel? Well, the reach of the first program, in this case, plus the reach of the second one, minus the product of the two, gives us the total reach. So you're accounting for the duplication of those who've seen both shows. And we'll go through this more in class. As I said, reach and frequency are very closely related. For a message to be truly effective, it usually has to be conveyed more than once. Early TV research suggested the optimal number was 3, and later research, which focused on packaged goods, found that one exposure in the past 7 days was actually most effective in increasing sales. The exposure distribution helps us see the percentage of the target exposed in a schedule at each level of frequency, as you can see in the chart here. And it's calculated using theories of probability. It's the likelihood of being exposed to a given number of ads times the number of different ways you can be exposed. Today, we rely on software. The important thing is that this has to add up to 100% and account for everyone in the viewing audience. To calculate reach across multiple media, we apply what's known as the random duplication formula, which is the reach of A plus the reach of B minus the product. So here's a simple example. If you have a TV show and a website, then you add the reach of each together and you subtract the product to account for the fact there must be some duplication of audience between the two channels. But when we don't know exactly how much, we assume it to be random. Reach and frequency are always in balance. Media planners often have to keep calculating the reach and frequency measures to compare one potential plan against another. And the goal is to find which media combination will provide the most impact for the budget available. Now, keep in mind, these are all simple math calculations, but you are still talking about actual people. And our scheduling considerations differ depending on whether our goal is reach versus frequency. If it's reach, we want to reach as many different people in the target as possible. So it's a dispersal strategy across media, different programs, different websites, different platforms. If our goal is frequency, we want more frequent exposure to the message among the target. So it's a concentration strategy within media, within the same number, within programs within a media channel, within websites, within platforms. And the decision depends on many things, such as sales, patterns, media objectives, or budgets. Key considerations in putting a media plan together are the workflow, the thought processes, obviously your goals and measurements, your targeting and how that will be defined, as we covered previously, your reach and frequency, context effects, saturation effects, the allocation between national and local media, and whether you're trying to drive short-term impact or longer-term effects. So here is the flow for putting the plan together. You'll usually be given a marketing plan the brand positioning, and something about the creative strategy, which will help you understand who the target is, how many pieces of creative there are, what the overall media budget is, and what the campaign goals are. And your job as the planner is to recommend how to best use the available media budget to achieve the campaign goals. And you'll place these recommendations in the media plan, which will include a flow chart that typically covers a year, showing how the various media elements lay out over the months involved. Measurement goals have to be established upfront. Even before you create the plan, you have to be thinking about measurement. How will you measure success? Are the goals clearly defined? And do you already know the marketing and advertising objectives? What kinds of measurements should be included before the campaign launches, during the campaign, and afterwards? And we'll cover this in week 7. As discussed in week 2, the target definitions are also key to media plans. And there are 2 levels of these: a very detailed description or a persona that's often used for planning. We think of this as the strategic target, and a more simple age gender definition that's used for buying many traditional media, the buying target. Although these 2 are now getting closer together and we can buy against more strategic targets. The concept of recency influenced media planning for many years, and it suggests it's most valuable to reach someone right before they go shopping for your type of product. So when you buy higher rated programs or use a program level optimizer, you can build reach faster. But this strategy depends on several factors, including the category, brand life stage, and media mix. And Owen Efron, an industry legend, said that average daily reach is the critical test, and we should plan and buy for continuous short-term reach. Research has shown that investing in higher reach media channels can lead to increased sales faster for frequently purchased items. And here's an example using a high prime schedule versus a low prime schedule. There's also the important concept of saturation. Each media channel has its own reach curve, and each curve is a diminishing return curve, so that as you add more dollars or GRPs, the impact flattens out. TV starts to flatten out at around 60% reach. Digital grows reach slowly and flattens at lower levels than TV. And there are tens of millions of places to go in digital versus tens of thousands for TV. So as soon as a media channel curve flattens, it makes sense to add another channel. And each time one is added, it starts another fast growth phase before it too will flatten. The concepts of reach and frequency also emphasize the art of media planning. You tend to want a greater emphasis on reach for new product introductions, expanding a target or trying to reach a new target, or if you have a multi-channel plan. A greater emphasis on frequency is used more for often consumed products, for reminder messaging, and when you have fewer channels in the plan. And there are other factors that can impact these arts as well. Context can be important to message and media impact. You can see here in the triangle at the bottom, message delivery, the likelihood of seeing or hearing the message can be impacted by the context. Brand safety and suitability is important for marketers increasingly in terms of, is their message being seen in the right context? Do people pay greater attention in the right context? Are their eyes on screen? Is there a greater likelihood of persuading them with your message? Is there a motivational resonance? And then, are you driving business outcomes with all of the items listed here in terms of delivering an impact?